What up, bro? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
What? What you say? Man, my camera is acting goofy, so I cannot. For some reason, it won't flip around, and I can't switch it to my FaceTime camera. So I don't know what's going on. Me I don't know what's going on, man. But how you feeling, man?
Hey man, say man, I'm good, man. You know how you doing, brother?
Man, I'm good, man. Long time no see. Hey, this is one of my guys from back in the day, man. A West Side Chicago hip hop legend. Um, you
That's
know,
right.
Fifth City Soldier. Tell them about yourself, man.
Okay. So Side Olin Room, but most people, in the Chicago hip hop community know me as Tumchi. You know what I'm saying? Definitely a foundational member of this whole Chicago hip hop shit. Just basically pretty much, artist, creative, father, husband, brother, and all around, connoisseur of dope shit.
Yeah, yeah. So tell us what it was like you growing up in the
Uh-huh.
shop.
I mean, it's like any other city, man. A lot of wild shit, crime, niggas hustling, just wild, man. But one thing about it, you know what I mean, because of the environment, shit that was going down, it taught me to hustle, taught me to grind, man. And basically build up, build up resilience, man. Just basically being in the trenches, that shit, just allowed me to be able to move in any environment that I was in, So, like I said, Chicago, like any other city, always been violent, because what you're seeing on the news, that's something that's been going down forever, man, So it's nothing new, you know what I'm saying? It's just, it just now it's televised. You're seeing it everywhere, YouTube, Instagram, everywhere. You seeing it in action. We ain't had the cameras back then. That's all.
Man, you know what? You mentioned how violent it was. And we grew up in the late '80s, early '90s.
Right.
It was violent, but it was a lot of fun too, man. It was a lot
Oh,
of fun too.
yeah, a whole bunch of fun. You know what I'm saying? Whole
Hey,
bunch of fun.
oh my God, man, we had so much fun, man. It's a lot different than what Gen Z do. Some of it's different, but man,
Yeah.
Chicago used to be a fun city, and you didn't have to have a lot of money to be fun
No.
to have fun. And I think that's the difference. That's the big difference nowadays, man. We, man, you can have fun and you could go to other neighborhoods within reason, um, but you had to be smart. You know, do you agree?
Oh yeah, you definitely know how to, have to know how to move because as you can attest, like if you went past, Homan at a certain point, you go to Humble Park, them Puerto Ricans on your ass over there in Humble Park, you know what I mean? So, but at the same time, we was able to go out to, Hyde Park and kick it at Kenwood, or we was able to go up north and hang out, at the Alcatraz and spots like that, and we was able to, we didn't have much problem, man. We was able to navigate through neighborhoods a little bit more, but now it's not so much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, we talked about you mentioned being one of the founders of the Chicago hip hop scene, which
Yep, absolutely.
I agree with. I was there back in that time. I got brought into it initially by Pele Fresh, uh, rest in peace, Pele, and
Yep.
you know, um, I think I think we were ahead of our time back then,
Mm-hmm.
and I I think that uh, some of the people that they're looking at now, it they these are basically our these are kids
Our offspring.
in the
Yeah,
hip hop city
yeah,
from
yeah.
Chicago. I mean, a lot of them young cats, man. One cat in particular that that was from our end, um, that I consider kind of one young cats we laid the foundation for is what's his name? I keep wanting to call him Roscoe Flats, but I know that uh, young kid, kick push.
Oh,
Uh,
Lupe
Lupe,
Fiasco. Lupe
Lupe,
Fiasco.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
You know, Lupe was off our end. We kind of laid
yeah.
really the groundwork for guys like him. I would say probably Chance the Rapper, and even with some of the with some of the gangbanging rappers,
You mean like
you
drill
know,
rappers, like different drill rappers? Yeah.
yeah, you know, a lot of people think drill is relatively new, man. They was drilling back in the day. Shout out to
Oh
Do or
yeah.
Die. Shout
Yeah,
out to Do
shout out
or
Do or
Die.
Die. Shout out to snipers from off our end. Yeah, you know, all those
Yeah,
guys.
State Assassins.
Yeah, Hill State Assassins, all those guys. Shout out to them.
They was
Yep.
drilling. They was drilling back in the days. A-Train, all of the cats. It was
Yeah,
really crucial conflict.
yeah,
Was
crucial
really,
conflict.
yeah. They was really, man. They was really part of that drill. That early,
That was like the early stages of, like you say, drill of
drill.
street
Yeah,
street music in Chicago.
yeah.
If you would
Yeah,
say that, yeah,
yeah, we had backpack hip hop. We had something
yeah,
called hip house, and then
yeah.
we had we had
Which let me just
what
say,
were
it was
called drillers. Yeah,
hip house was trash. I just want to get that out there. Okay, you
yeah,
know
it was, it was. But I tell you,
what?
um, Big Pun actually came up out of that. What you realize is,
Really? I mean, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
elaborate.
So Big Pun was actually rapping in Chicago as MC Fat Man, who was a hip hop rapper.
Well, you say what?
Big Pun was he spent some time in Chicago and was rapping as a hip house rapper
Oh
called
wow,
Fat
I
Man.
wasn't aware of that. Oh, okay,
Yeah, yeah. I remember when Pun went to New York,
okay.
and then like I said, he was here in Chicago for a short while. He was trying to get on then. In fact, who was it that he battled somebody? It wasn't Cool Rock Steady, but it was
It may have been.
somebody else.
It
Huh?
may have been Cool Rocksteady because Cool Rocksteady was on DJ International, which was one of the which was one of the first independent record labels out of Chicago. Period.
Yeah,
It was Chicago Tracks and it was DJ International. So
yeah. He got into like a rap battle beef back and forth, but then he ended up going back to New York and he became Big Pun.
right.
So a lot of people don't realize that Pun he still has family in Chicago. The Ortiz family is still in Chicago. It's just like what is old boy? Tony Batoy. He's down in Miami and he's been in Miami for quite a few years, but Tony Batoy cut his teeth in Chicago.
Okay.
You know.
That's a,
So yeah, man, Chicago, like I said before, Chicago hip hop, well, when we were involved, it was kind of ahead of its time.
mhm.
It really, Kanye was Kanye was way after I stepped away from it because by the time Kanye got with Dame Dash and them cats and stuff, I don't know what you was doing then, but I was over. I was boxing at that time, boxing and kickboxing, and then
Yeah, I remember that. I remember when you left and did that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I left, and then when 9/11 happened, I went over there to uh, join the army.
Well, at that time I was still heavy. You know, I was heavy with the music from when you're talking about all the way up to 2014, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, I started off, with the group Time Exposure, and went from Time Exposure. We was the same, group members, but we changed the name to the Underworld. And with that situation, we had an independent, situation, via Universal, and that kind of fell through. And after that fell through, that's when I went solo, came out with a few bodies of work, and just been. I was doing my thing all the way up to 2014 with it, man.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, I don't know about you all. I explained to the audience the Golden Dome story. Do you have any Golden Dome stories you'd like to tell?
Yeah.
Tell our audience. Because I told them how I found out about the Golden Dome.
Oh, I would definitely tell them my story. I mean, so I mean, of course, I knew about the Golden Dome. Everybody would go up there for play basketball or whatever. But my first experience actually with the Golden Dome is I was messing with this chick. Me and her, we was cool. Got on some, fell through, some, understand me, you dig. And or for the audience, just kind of, booty call type thing, you know what I'm saying? And keep it 100 with you, she burnt me. So after she burned me, I went up there and I had to, get that shot. And that's where everybody in the neighborhood went when they got burnt. You know what I mean? So that was my, to keep it real with you, that was my first experience with the Golden Dome.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if that was I don't know if that was TMI, but I mean, hey,
that is what it is. It is what it is. It's shit that happened. I mean, that's your first experience. My first experience was cats when I moved to the neighborhood, and cats I got cool with. They told me if I ever ran into an issue, that's where you go.
Right, exactly.
My first actual experience inside the Golden Dome was actually to learn how to box. That's when I started learning how to box.
Okay.
Because that's where everybody that wanted to know how to box, that's where they went. And so, that's why I first started playing around with boxing. And then after a few years, I got serious. And that was around the time I left the neighborhood and stuff, and, that's pretty much what it is. So we're going to shift the show. We're going to talk about this migrant situation. Are you still in Chicago?
Yes, I'm still in Chicago. Yes.
Okay. You know me. I'm in Florida, man.
What part of Florida? You in South Florida? Where?
Nah, man. I can't afford South Florida. It's too rich for my blood. I'm in Northeast Florida.
Okay.
It might as well. Where I'm at, it might as well be somewhere in Alabama.
Okay. Okay.
But I'm in Northeast Florida, not far from Jacksonville.
Okay.
So, I've been here. I've had a house here for a few years, but I've been here full time for about 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah, man. So, you're in Chicago. Y'all got a bit of a migrant situation there.
Yep.
I actually have some video we can take a look at.
Okay.
And you give me your views on that whole situation in Chicago, man. So hold on, let me pull this up. Let me see if you can see this. I'm so used to doing everything on OBS. StreamYard is really kind of a new venture for me. That being said, it's hard to to connect other people onto StreamYard. There's a way to do it, but I ain't that technically advanced yet. So let me not.
Okay.
Hold on. Hey. Oh, come on.
Gangs in Chicago are angry over the
Can you see that?
criminals.
No, I can't. I'm not able to see anything yet.
Okay. Hold on.
Non-citizens and warn that turf wars between Chicago's gangs and
Yeah, let me see if I can pull this up some kind of way on. Pull this up some kind of way on StreamYard. Like I said, StreamYard it's new to me, so trying to figure out how to. Oh, okay. All right. Hold on. Let me see if I can. Nah, that ain't gonna work either. See if I can. Cancel that. Let me see if I can add this. Well, I know what I'm going to do. I just can't figure out how to add what I want to add in here. Yeah. Okay, let's try this extra camera. That's not gonna work. Yeah, okay. I have no idea. Okay, I might be able to do it. All right. All right, let me see if I can find this.
America has allowed gangs to enter our.
Okay, I can see it now.
The migrants that are coming, they're taking over every block right now.
The city of Chicago is going to go up in smoke. It's going to go up in flames.
Gangs in Chicago are angry over the influx of migrants and criminals in their city. They say money that should be going to the African American community on the South Side is instead going to what they call non-citizens, and warn that turf wars between Chicago's gangs and groups like Venezuela's Tren de Aragua could see Chicago, quote, go up in flames. Photographer Matt McDermott and I traveled to Chicago's South Side to see what was happening for ourselves after we heard about a police report last month that the Tren de Aragua gang had taken over an office building there.
Hey, man. Okay. That's wild that they took over an office building. And I believe this area, one of the areas that I know that they're talking about is in the area of Inglewood. I don't know what side of what part of Chicago you're in, but give us a little bit about your observations when it comes to this.
I'm actually in the suburbs of Chicago, but I'm in the city every single day. And my observation is almost exactly, you know, identical to what they're saying. Like they're everywhere, man. Like and it's certain, and not just in Inglewood, just to be real with you, like it's a section of the West Loop that they've taken over. Like it's like a strip. Like they out there kind of almost open air drug market out there. You know, not to be, you know, dry snitching or nothing, but I'm just saying, like, it's almost like an open air drug market, just like in the South Loop, man. And it's terrible. You know what I'm saying? Like they really, I just think, man, they didn't anticipate this level. And what I will tell you, knowing the gangs in Chicago and knowing the situation with the gangs here and them and the influx of migrants that's coming in with their own gangs, I can definitely tell you this is a volatile situation, and it's definitely a cocktail for some real bad, something really bad to happen, man. So I'm not quite sure how they're gonna get it under control, but I mean they're everywhere, man. Like I mean they're coming in bars, unsolicited, you know, begging and stuff, you know, unsolicited. They up in the store stealing. I mean, it's all kind of stuff. You know what I mean? That I've witnessed. This is not nothing that somebody telling me. I'm telling you what I witnessed. You know what I mean? Personally. You know what I'm saying? Seeing this every day in the city. They're everywhere. When I tell you everywhere, anywhere that you can imagine it being migrants, they're there.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you. I used to work out of Maywood. That was the headquarters where I was working at. Because, you know, I worked in law enforcement 29 years. And
Okay.
my headquarters was in Maywood. And, you know, Maywood, at least the south end, everything south of St. Charles,
Yeah.
that was traditionally Black American. But everything north of St. Charles became Mexican during that time, and it was like it was essentially everything north of St. Charles became a sundown town. You know, if you weren't Mexican, it was pretty much a sundown town for you.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I saw that back then. And this was like 2008, 2009, stuff like this. And I was like, this is going to get worse, especially around 2014 when they start handing out those immigrant driver's licenses in Chicago. I said, okay, come. You know, and it's funny because I am a descendant of immigrants. You know, I'm a descendant of to put it to where most people can understand the community platform. Half my lineage is FBA, the other half is Caribbean. In the Caribbean side, I come from Maroons and Pirates. So in fact,
So you say Maroons is that Jamaican Maroons?
No, Maroons is Caribbean wide, really. All it is, maroon. Maroon is a term for basically an escaped slave. So whether it be Jamaica, like my family lineage is originally from St. Vincent, then they're from Honduras and you know, and from Honduras, Belize, and we got an injection from Puerto Rico. So I got family in all of those places, you know, on that one side, on my maternal side of the family, and my dad's side of the family, they are FBAs, you know, from the South. So I'm half a tether. I'm only gonna get half of a reparations check if it ever happened. You know? But that being said, I am very familiar with both sides of the family, and I understand that some people need to stay where they're at. You know,
some people say repeat that again.
Some people need to stay where they're at.
Oh yeah.
You know, having traveled having traveled around the world, having traveled throughout the Caribbean, having traveled throughout Central America, and having relatives that have gotten deported, and rightfully so. Some people need to stay where they're at.
Yeah.
You know, the whole thing with the Haitians eating cats, it's not all of them, it's not most of them, but it is enough for people. It's enough for it to be true. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Okay. All right.
They're eating the cats. You know,
Eating the dogs. So here's the thing, man. Like, that's kind of strange to me because it's just like I'm not saying that it didn't happen, but I mean, like that's kind of like I've never known Haitians to eat things like cats and dogs, because you got to think about this. I've even seen like actually live footage of people reporting from Haiti, and the people were even eating. They were even eating mud pies. So I'm thinking to myself. Well, I mean, if they resorted to eating mud pies, and I'm sure that there's cats and dogs in Haiti. I mean, so I don't know if I believe the actual them actually eating cats and dogs. Now I did hear one report that they were eating geese. Now I can see that, because I can just see that, you know what I mean? Because geese is pretty much similar to duck, you know what I mean? So I can see that. But the cats and dogs, it could be true, but I don't know. That shit kind of wild, man. You know what I mean? So
I tell you this much. As I said before, it's not widespread, but I do know of instances where it has happened prior to now.
Okay.
And I know why. And so when I heard it, I wasn't surprised. I was like, okay, they do that, but they also eat like horse meat, things like that. Where outside of the U.S., I mean, people eat stuff like that.
Horse meat is common outside of the U.S.
Yeah. So it's like it's not a big deal. If you go to many Asian countries, many countries in the Middle East, don't be surprised that you see people eating dogs. I mean, it's just something that happens, but we in the U.S., we do things different. And so I'm like I said, you're not going to see it a whole lot, but yeah, they do eat cats, and I believe that they would eat dogs. It is what it is.
Yeah.
So, seeing that we're talking about the situation with the migrants, with the Venezuelan migrants.
Okay.
You have a gang called Tren de Agua.
Right.
And you have in Chicago, you have Chicago's traditional gangs. You have your gangster disciples, you have your vice lords and their various factions. You have your Latin kings, your Latin disciples, so forth and so on. And you have your neighborhoods where these gangs traditionally have been. With this incursion of this presence of new competing criminal gang force, what do you, and especially after whatever happens in this election, because I believe no matter who wins, if you're not rich, you're cooked. What do you see happening with this brand new group of people and this brand new criminal organization in big cities like Chicago and New York and so forth and so on? What are your thoughts?
Well, so when we talking about, like you said, like the different gangs here, and like I said, the influx of the new gangs that's coming, as far as the the Venezuelan gangs or whatever. What I see, man, is like like I'm not saying within the next year or whatever, but I do see them if unchecked, becoming a huge criminal network, man. Like, because that's similar to how, like gangs like, MS-13 spread. They started off small, like in different places. They started off small. You know what I mean? I mean, even if you think about the Latin Kings, man, like they, they started off small. You know what I mean? It wasn't a lot of them. Now they in New York everywhere. So I just see, man, like I said, if it's unchecked, man, that, and then I could also see them kind of teaming up with the other, Hispanic gangs, man. So I just think it's gonna eventually explode, man, to something really, really serious, man. Like I said, if it's unchecked and they don't do something about it, it's gonna be everywhere. It's not just gonna be a Chicago problem. This is gonna be an Atlanta problem. This is gonna be a New York problem. This is gonna be a Florida, a Miami problem. This is gonna get really serious. You know what I'm saying? Because these people are coming, man, and then you got to understand there's a level of disparity too, because they knew they don't really have the means to make money, and then they'll start, getting into criminal activity on a heavy level. You know what I mean? If they don't have the means, poverty breed crime, man. You was, like you said, you was a cop for 29 years, so the areas that's impoverished, how it breeds crime, man. And this is a systemic problem. This is just not just okay, well, this is happening just because the immigrants are here, but it's a systemic problem. But like you said, to touch on what you said with the immigrant or migrants, or however they label them, this is going to be a serious problem, man, because these people, a lot of them already are criminals. A lot of them already, came here with criminal records because none of them was vetted. Nobody ran a background check on any of these people that were coming into the country. So one could only assume that, hey, man, this is going to be a real, effed up problem. You know what I'm saying? If like I said, if it goes unchecked.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I agree. One thing you mentioned, like the MS-13, and what I've encountered over the years, a lot of people didn't believe certain groups were in Chicago that were in Chicago, or at least that were outside of that were in the suburbs. Like I was telling people years ago, hey, we got Bloods and Crips in Chicago.
Right.
And people was like, hey, you don't got them Bloods and Crips in Chicago. I said, okay, all right.
Now I will say I've never encountered that, but you was a cop, so I know you was out there every day.
Story. A big part of what I did was gang investigations and stuff like that. When guys like Lil Reese got shot up and stuff like that, I would be one of the guys to show up for that. So I did a lot of gang investigations, and oddly enough, back in 2001, one of my relatives from Belize was locked up in the county jail, and he was a Crip. Because there was a bunch of Crips and Bloods in Rogers Park in Evanston.
That's what I was just shaking my finger, because I was about to tell you that when I said I hadn't encountered it, I thought about it. There is an actual blood set in Uptown, man.
Yeah. And for people that don't know what Uptown is pretty much that's like Rogers Park, Edgewater.
Yeah.
I want to say maybe a little bit of Albany Park, what we would call the North Pole, Kedzie and Orange.
Yeah. Ravenswood.
Yeah.
Ravenswood.
They call it the jungle over there.
That's Howard is actually the jungle. Up on Howard Street. That's the jungle.
Yeah. So they do have Bloods and they do have Crips up there. My cousin was one, and he was in the county jail on a murder. Because they gave him some bump rides this time, he ended up flipping to a gangster disciple. But when he came in, he was a Crip. And he caught a Crip murder. And he was a Belizean Crip.
Okay.
So they did have him. There was a big instance where some Belizean Bloods from Rogers Park tried to rob some cartel members in Bourbon. You know, yeah, but it was really FBI agents. You know, so them guys went away real quick. You know, that being said, MS-13 was also in Chicago. That was one we started finding more and more of those guys coming into the county jail. And you know, at first people was like, "Oh, they're not out here." Until people start looking into Palatine, Illinois. Palatine has a bunch of them. They have a whole set out there. You know, so you had that. You had the Norteños out in Waukegan. You had Norteños in Chicago Heights. So you know, you have those different gang groups there. You have those different groups that people say aren't in Chicago, and with Trinidad Agua. Right now, they are going to be a competing force with the Mexicans.
Yep.
Because they don't need to, because of where cocaine comes from. You understand where cocaine comes from? You understand where Venezuela is in relation to Colombia? They don't need the Mexicans. And I'm explaining this to people, they don't need the Mexicans. The Mexicans have the networks right now into the U.S., but the Colombians and the Venezuelans, the Colombians are the plug, the Venezuelans are good with the plug. So that's a potential competing force. And they're all violent. So you know, that's going to be interesting to see how that pans out, especially if we get Harris in as president, then it's going to be a crime bill and it's going to get real ugly. And so we'll see how that goes.
Okay.
But yeah, they stand to be a potential competing narcotics force with Mexicans. What are your thoughts?
I mean, that's definitely a strong possibility. You know what I mean? Because, like you said, like I don't really know the mechanics of it. You know, as far as you know the whole thing with those particular gangs and where like the actual cocaine comes from. I don't know necessarily, but I do know and I am aware that a large percentage of it does come from Mexico, and especially if they have their own pipeline. If they got their own pipeline and they don't, that's going to be major because that's competition. And you know what happened when it's competition, and in the street when drugs and competition and that, and like I said, like you said, if they got their own pipeline of cocaine, man, then this is gonna get ugly, man. This is gonna get real ugly.
There will be blood.
Yep.
There will be blood. So so we're gonna move. We're gonna shift away from that, and we're gonna go back somewhat into the hip hop genre. As you all know, Masai, or also known as Tumchi, is one of the Chicago hip hop legends. He's been around for a long time. I've been knowing Tump since about maybe 1987. I want to say. I think that's around the time we first met.
Yep.
So I've been knowing him since '87. I believe we also may have had the same management. Was old boy that used to manage Public Announcement? Was he your manager as well? I know
he wasn't my manager at that time. My first initial manager was O.T. Lee.
Okay, Rob. Right. So we had Rob together. And then we went over to I know we had the Public Announcement management and stuff, because that's when I had my little run-in with. I had to explain to R. Kelly not to call my house for my sister. I had to know that one of my sisters, she's got that Lisa Ray vibe for all you pervs out there. We make Lisa Rays, and we make Jocelyn Hernandez is in my family. And so I know you stalkers, will be trying to find my Facebook, find my relatives. But we make it in my family. They you know, all light skinned, you know, chicks like
Right.
that, you know, light skin kind of ghetto. R. Kelly tried to holler at my sister, and I had to help him understand that that wasn't a good idea for him.
Right.
But all right, with Tuck, you know, we were our groups and stuff. We were all on the Chicago scene at the time when Mary J. Blige hit. Do you remember when Mary hit? When she
Yeah.
dropped?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
like she took over like a thunderstorm, and during that time, you already had Heavy D out. You had guys and stuff out, and there was this guy, Puffy.
Yeah.
Puffy
Yeah.
was out,
Yep.
and Puffy was making waves and stuff. And you know, the thing about it is, even back early in the times, people were talking. Were they not?
Well, so here's the deal with that. Puffy was, you know, I don't know, people know the backstory on it, but Puffy was he was an intern at Uptown Records. So, he was an intern to Andre Harrell. So yeah, it was rumors even swirling back then because, like, I'll Be Sure, you know, like that was, you know, even that Puff baby mama, you know, Kim Porter, that was Al B. Sure's girl. People don't know that was Al B. Sure's girl.
Yeah.
You know, and Puff kind of took her from Al B. Sure.
Yeah.
But it was rumblings of things, you know, rumors about stuff going on in Uptown with, you know, Andre Harrell. I mean, definitely the rumors with Andre Harrell's sexuality was like definitely a thing back then. I mean, I heard that several times back then. And then that was his intern. Huh?
Exactly.
Yeah.
In fact, it was stuff about Andre Harrell I was hearing about first.
Yeah, that's
then,
what I'm saying.
You know,
yeah.
Then you know, you started hearing stuff about like Puffy and Christopher Williams. I didn't hear anything about. I don't remember hearing anything about I'll Be Sure, but I do remember hearing stuff about, like, you know, Christopher Williams. You know, but I think a lot of it was just light skin hate. But you know, I say that to say that we heard a lot of weird stuff about New York rappers back then and the New York scene back then. And as time went on, I was probably one of the first people to spot certain stuff because certain female rappers that was real popular, I found out real quick she was back for the other team. I was like, you presenting one way, but you a whole stud, you know. But we started hearing stuff as our scene started trying to have this growing pain. We started hearing stuff about New York because New York was standard. Somebody was always coming, going back and forth to New York and telling us stuff. And then, you know, when people from New York would come to Chicago, everybody wanted to be around and you know, meet and greet and stuff. And you started seeing stuff that wasn't normal. You started hearing stuff that didn't sound right.
Right.
So yeah, so like with all of this stuff coming out now, it's like I'm not surprised. Are you surprised?
I'm not surprised at all, man. Like, I mean, like I said, man, I stayed into the music scene, you know, from that point. And man, I you know, I've seen, man, like myself, like firsthand some things taking place, man. So it's not a surprise to me. And I'm surprised it took so long to come out.
Yeah.
That's what I'm more surprised of. I'm not surprised that it came out because it wasn't a question of if it was going to come out. It just was like pretty much when, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm not surprised this thing didn't blow up way earlier, man, because it's been happening for so long in the recording industry that I'm just not surprised, and I'm surprised it took this long. Because certain characters and certain gatekeepers, this is their tool. That's their tool to groom certain artists. And this is a thing, regardless of what people want to think. This is an actual thing in the recording industry, man. Like, and it's been a thing.
Yeah. There was one cat we know, which I offline, but it was one cat. Puppy actually brought him out to New York, and you might already know who it is. One DJ we know, but it's not our guy, but it's a DJ that we know. The Puppy brought him out there, so now I'm, with all of this stuff, I'm like looking like, man, did
right.
But I'll talk to you about him offline. But I
think,
man, that might have been a situation. All right, speaking of Puffy, I'm gonna put something up on the share screen. About our old buddy Suge Knight, So we are going to take a look at this, and you give me your thoughts on that. Hold on, that's not really what I want. Let's see if we can. That's not what I want either. So. Let's see if we can just okay, yeah. Here we go. Can you see it?
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, let me play this. All right.
That was me in those days. They used to have these guys, they used to call it the boiled egg test. They could take a boiled egg, a raw boiled egg, have those guys put their pants down and bend over and they stick it up their ass. The eggs break, they say they're not ready yet. They ain't put enough work in. This is Hollywood. So everybody want to go act like they don't know what's going on.
Hold on a second,
But if you just look, all you got to do is
I have never heard of anything like that. So if I haven't heard about it, just assume a lot of people haven't heard that before. But you think it's on video?
Let's stop for a second.
Go ahead, Suge.
Yeah, listen, and also, have you ever been to any puppy parties?
No.
You sure they had a long time to think about it. But if you haven't been in those butt naked parties, even some of the preachers been in those parties, and they wasn't on their knees praying for God. See, they was praying for somebody to have come real quick or something. But I wasn't there, but there's proof of it. But at the same time, everybody want to look around and act like something going on that wasn't right. It's the facts of life in the industry. Not for the people who don't get in. So,
all right, man, you shout out to the Chris Cuomo show. Shout out to the Chris Cuomo show. So, Tom, have you ever heard of the boiled egg test? Have you ever heard of the boiled egg test?
Now, I'm going to tell you, I've never heard of the boiled egg test because the boiled egg up the ass is crazy work anywhere on the earth, man. You know what I'm saying? So that's nothing I ever heard of, man. But I don't think it's far fetched. I'm gonna just say that. That sounds like some shit that probably went down. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Man, when I saw that video, I was like, wow. I'm glad I live a square life now. I'm really glad I live the life I live because I don't want fame and fortune nearly anywhere enough to say, if I do this, you're going to put me on? There's nothing. I can't fathom having that conversation with anybody. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, that shit's wild.
Man, that's crazy work.
Yeah. Anywhere on the earth, man. Anywhere on the earth. That's wild, man.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Speaking of crazy work, we got another hip hop topic that we're going to talk about because our friends in New York, they're out there, man. They got some wild stuff going on. And you know, Chicago has a lot of shooting and stuff, but they got some really wild, crazy work out there in New York. So we're gonna go into another story of 2 or 3 people we are very familiar with on the music scene in terms of entertainment and hip hop and dancing and R&B and stuff.
Right.
One is one of my favorite entertainers. I don't care what anybody say. Chris Brown.
Oh yeah, Breezy. Oh yeah, Breezy. Yeah, Breezy the man. Shout out to Breezy, man.
Yeah,
Yep.
shout out to Chris Brown. This is some allegations made about the situation with him and Rihanna, which I felt like he was unfairly treated because I'm the type of person, I don't have that thing in me that says you should never put your hands on a woman. Shout out to Chris Rock. I think that there's a reason to push an old person down flight of stairs if they cross a certain line. You know?
Yeah.
I used to be a sparring partner of a women's world boxing champion, and that's what I learned. To not take it easy on women because they won't take it easy on you. So when she cracked me hard, I lit her up with 7 and 8 punch combos just to let her know I don't fuck around. You
hard in the paint, man. You hard in the paint, man.
I don't believe in hitting women first, but I do believe in hitting them back.
Yeah.
No shame in my game. I will definitely, you put hands on me. I accept all invitations to violence.
Yeah, keep your hands to yourself, man. Just keep your hands to yourself. Yeah.
Exactly. Keep your hands to yourself. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at this. I'm gonna pull this video up. It's about Chris Brown, Rihanna, and Jay-Z. Let's take a look at this video.
Oh, Jay-Z. You said Jay-Z. Okay.
Yeah.
Be sure to like and comment down below. Check out this next clip as Jaguar Wright speaks on Chris Brown being a part of the whole Diddy and the Elite and them muting his whole career and him not being able to be at his full potential.
Nobody will ever touch that.
What do you feel about the comparisons, though? Like now we have the Chris Brown comparison. Of course, he says that Michael Jackson, he will never be that.
And I'm glad he's smart enough to know that. But he's fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
And he's the closest thing that I've seen. And unfortunately, he handled up.
You're right.
They got him. They got him. He can't move right or left too far.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't you noticed that?
Yeah.
His whole fucking career has been like whack-a-mole. Every time he starts creeping up,
real. Something just going.
Am I wrong?
Put it right back.
Every time he's building, get your ass. Like, if he comes anything above, like right here,
put him right there. Real. Yeah.
He should be insane. Thank God he's not. He has his moments, and he should, because he's been in a fucking jail. But ever since that shit with Rihanna, he's been in fucking prison. And they holding him. And guess what? There's stuff that people know about him that I'm sure he don't want nobody to know. That's why it's so important to come clean and to be clean if you're going to fuck with this game in any way, shape, or form, because they will use everything against you and tie you up. I wish they stopped bopping him on the head because he's so fucking talented.
So I'm curious.
Just let him come out, man.
Let him come out. Let him come out.
Out there,
Chris.
They've let far worse people out. You know, there's some real sick motherfuckers that people love. Fucking R. Kelly ran around the United States without fucking impunity, fucking up a whole generation of bitches and some small boys. Y'all let him run.
Writers on the wall.
Let fucking Chris run. You know?
If you were to see, they have a new biopic of Whitney Houston coming out. If they play this movie and you see no kind of drugs in this movie, do you feel like it's an injustice to what this look?
I feel like anything with her name on it is strictly for the purposes of financial gain for those who have access to her estate, including Clive Davis.
Including Clive
Davis. This ain't a film to celebrate Whitney Houston. This is a film to pay the piper.
He was the one trying to bring her back though at the time of prior to her death, right?
Fuck him. He needed her back. He needed her back, but he needed her back and under his control. You want to know if
all right. That's the wrong one. That's not the one that I wanted to discuss. I don't know what happened to the one I want to discuss, but this was one that allegedly Jaguar White was saying that Jay-Z allegedly had Rihanna as a side piece, and that the alleged and this was during, and that Rihanna was placed with Chris Brown. That was a strategic situation, but that Rihanna ended up giving Chris Brown the derps. You know, gave him the Nestle Crunch.
Right.
You know, that's how that fight happened.
Okay.
In his I guess Lamborghini, or was that his
Lamborghini
Viper or something.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about that?
So I'm gonna lead off with this. It's not the first time I heard that about Rihanna, because I do remember, I can't think of her name right now, but I do remember this porn star recently saying that Rihanna had gave her boss, who was some type of Nigerian prince, a venereal disease. And people were saying that it was the porn star, but when everything went down and they come to find out that this guy was married, and supposedly he hit his wife off with the same venereal disease that Rihanna. But anyway, it all led back to Rihanna. So I'm willing to say that that's not a improbability, because shit. I mean, if she gave this guy some type of venereal disease. And it's not, like I said, it's not the first time I heard this about Rihanna. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I can see that. I can see that. You know what I'm saying? And that's enough to make you, that's enough to make you wild out. Somebody giving you a venereal disease.
Yeah, it'll definitely do that. Now, you mentioned a porn star that was talking about it.
Yeah.
This porn star wouldn't happen to be Superhead, would it?
It's not Superhead. It's not Superhead.
Okay.
But she's a porn star. She's a popular black porn star.
Okay.
And she talks about it. It's on YouTube. That's why I seen it at. So It's on YouTube. You can Google it. But she's a relatively popular black porn star that said that Rihanna gave her boss, which I said was a Nigerian prince guy, she gave him a venereal disease that he gave to his wife.
Wow. That's way out, man. That is
Yeah.
way out. I tell anybody, if you want to understand, if you want to clue in there, everybody that might have the Nestle Crunch in the New York hip hop scene, go read Corinne Steffens, also known as Superhead's book.
Mm-hmm.
Read the book, and I'm going to just leave it at that. Draw whatever conclusion you want to draw, but if you talk about people, some interactions with people that have been alleged to have the Nestle Crunch,
You're killing me with the Nestle Crunch, dog.
Right. And I think the one common denominator is her.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so yeah. That it is what it is. Okay.
Right.
So yeah, man. So let's move on to
Okay.
some politics. I was gonna do this week in dumb shit, but I couldn't find enough. I couldn't find some dumb shit that we really could just laugh at and talk about.
Right.
But that being said, there was a vice presidential debate that happened for the upcoming election. You know where I stand. I'm Team Trump. I don't know about you, but I'm Team Trump. You know, they got me one time with Obama. All it took was one time. I was like, y'all won't fool me again.
Right.
I voted for the open change, and now we got Busty Warriors twerking in front of 8-year-olds with the Davy Dukes cut off and no underwear on.
Right.
So, I'm like, then that, just certain things that I align with, which is primarily money and a strong national defense. I don't see Harris lining up with that. I don't know where you are politically, but I'm Team Trump. That being said, we had a vice presidential debate.
Right.
And, let's take a look at it and give me your thoughts, man.
Okay.
I'm gonna look at some of the highlights and you give me your thoughts. And here we go. Yeah. Okay.
Tonight, with just over a month to go until Election Day, the first and only meeting between the two men who hope to become vice president of the United States. Democratic Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota and Republican Senator J.D. Vance of Ohio.
We don't want full
now,
debate.
this is likely the final debate.
Well, let me stop it. We're not
Okay.
doing a full debate, man.
Okay.
We're doing the highlights. You can't do the full debate, man. No, we're not doing it. I just wanted some highlights. And full debate is nasty work all over again.
Did he lose the 2020 election?
Tim, I'm focused on the future. Did Kamala Harris censor Americans from speaking their mind in the
fair use? Let's go.
Wake of the 2020 COVID situation?
That is a damning non-answer.
It's a damning non-answer for you to not talk about censorship. Obviously, Donald Trump and I think that there were problems in 2020. We've talked about it. I'm happy to talk about it further. But you guys attack us for not believing in democracy. The most sacred right under the United States democracy is the First Amendment. You yourself have said there's no First Amendment right to misinformation. Kamala Harris wants to use the power of government and big tech to silence people from speaking their minds. That is a threat to democracy that will long outlive this present political moment. I would like Democrats and Republicans to both reject censorship. Let's persuade one another. Let's argue about ideas, and then let's come together afterwards.
You can't yell fire in a crowded theater. That's the test. That's the Supreme Court test.
Tim, fire in a crowded theater. You guys wanted to kick people off of Facebook for saying that toddlers shouldn't wear masks.
Senator, the governor does have the floor.
Fire in a crowded theater. That is criticizing the policies of the government, which is the right of every American.
Senator, the governor does have the floor for 1 minute to respond to you.
Yeah. Well, I don't run Facebook. What I do know is I see a candidate out there who refused, and now again, and this, I'm pretty shocked by this. He lost the election. This is not a debate.
If you become vice president, why should Americans trust that you will give Donald Trump the advice he needs to hear and not just the advice he wants to hear?
Well, first of all, Margaret, because I've always been open. And sometimes, of course, I've disagreed with the president, but I've also been extremely open about the fact that I was wrong about Donald Trump. I was wrong, first of all, because I believed some of the media stories that turned out to be dishonest fabrications of his record. But most importantly, Donald Trump delivered for the American people. rising wages, rising take-home pay, an economy that worked for normal Americans, a secure southern border, a lot of things, frankly, that I didn't think he'd be able to deliver on. And yeah, when you screw up, when you misspeak, when you get something wrong and you change your mind, you ought to be honest with the American people about it.
You said you were in Hong Kong during the deadly Tiananmen Square protests in the spring of 1989. But Minnesota Public Radio and other media outlets are reporting that you actually didn't travel to Asia until August of that year.
Look, I will be the first to tell you, I have poured my heart into my community. I've tried to do the best I can, but I've not been perfect. And I'm a knucklehead at times, but it's always been about that. Many times I will talk a lot. I will get caught up in the rhetoric. But being there, the impact it made, the difference it made in my life, I learned a lot about China. I hear the critiques of this. I would make the case that Donald Trump should have come on one of those trips with us. I guarantee you he wouldn't be praising Xi Jinping about COVID. And I guarantee you he wouldn't start a trade war that he ends up losing.
So first of all, Margaret, before we talk about deportations, we have to stop the bleeding. We have a historic immigration crisis because Kamala Harris started and said that she wanted to undo all of Donald Trump's border policies.
Kamala Harris was the attorney general of the largest state, a border state in California. She's the only person in this race who prosecuted transnational gangs for human trafficking and drug interventions. But look, we all want to solve this. Most of us want to solve this. That's why we had the fairest and the toughest bill on immigration that this nation's seen. But as soon as I was getting ready to pass and actually tackle this, Donald Trump said no, told them to vote against it because it gives him a campaign issue. It gives him to, what would Donald Trump talk about if we actually did some of these things?
The only thing that she did when she became the vice president, when she became the appointed border czar, was to undo 94 Donald Trump executive actions that opened the border. This problem is leading to massive problems in the United States of America.
We could.
All right. We're not going to go too far with that because we'll be all night. What are your thoughts? Were you able to watch any of the debate before we looked at these highlights tonight?
So to be quite honest with you, yeah, I didn't watch any of the really get a chance to really look at the vice presidential debate. I watched the entirety of the actual presidential debate between Trump and Kamala Harris, but I didn't really get to see much of that. But I do have some thoughts on what you just showed me, and
go ahead.
I'm not a really like a super big politics guy, because I keep up with politics, definitely keep up with politics, but I'm kind of like on the fence about a lot of things because like what is the Republican candidate for vice president? What is his name?
J.D. Vance.
J.D. Vance, and he's from what state?
J.D. Vance is from Ohio.
Ohio, okay. So I know Tim Walz, he's from Minnesota. I'm familiar with him. But I agree with some of the points from both of them. Like, to be honest with you, because I agree with J.D. Vance, on the scale of him saying that that whole border thing, man, is like that's something that got to be addressed, man. You know what I mean? So I agree with him on that. You know what I mean? Also agree with Tim Walz, man. Like, on, just basically, I just think it needs to be more, bipartisan, like as far as, the both parties kind of working together, man. Needs to be more of an effort, So I agree with him on that. But what I will say is, man, like both parties, well, I'm going to use this platform. I'm just going to say what I'm going to say. I'm not going to, hold back. Both parties need to address the elephant in the room when it comes to our community. What's up with them reparations, man? And whether it's monetary or whether it's like Terrence Howard proposed something, us having being tax-free for the next 400 years. Address the elephant in the room because I don't believe that America can truly heal from the atrocities that took place and from the trauma that took place during slavery and the wrongs that were committed against our community until they address. Both parties need to address the elephant in the room, man, and they're not. That's the thing about it. So that's what kind of makes me leery of both of them because it seems like the same song and dance to me. That's just what it seems like to me. It seems like they do this They do this shit every 4 years, man. You know, the same song and dance, same promises, and nobody ever really truly delivers because you got a house that may be controlled by the Republicans, and you know, or the Democrats, and nothing really gets done because somebody's blocking somebody. You know, so I just think, man, on a real level, until they address that has taken place within, you know, with our people, man, I just think, man, all of this is a bunch of crap, man. You know what I mean? But like I will say, both of them have valid points, man. I'm not going to say that they don't both have valid points about the direction of this country, but at the same time, man, you guys got to quit evading what's really what we I think in our community what we're concerned about is that because like where do we fit in? You know, like when do these guys say, hey, man, you know what? There's some issues in this particular community or this segment of our country. Like your man said, you know, he like Trump likes to say our black citizens. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So when does it come to the point where, you know, Trump, if you about that, well, why don't you be the one, be the advocate for change with the black citizens? I mean, if you feel like you say you feel about them, you know, that you for black people, you've done more for black people than any president in American history. Well, be that. Well, let us show us. You know, don't shoot the breeze about it. Be about it. You know what I'm saying? If that's what you really own, then show us what you're talking about, and then we can go. We put 100% behind Trump. You know what I mean? If he happens to be the catalyst for change, you know. But if he's not, and the Democrats not, then I think it's all talk, man. You know, be honest with you.
I think everything you said is fair. I think that I've always been the type. I've always gotten annoyed with people that say, why are you asking politicians for something for your vote? I think that's stupid. If you want something from me, I need something in return. You need to do something in my interest. And I'm like this. Black Americans, I'm pretty neutral. I joke about only being able to get a half of a reparations check, but I'm pretty neutral. My position is that Black Americans absolutely have the right to petition for reparations. They felt like that a wrong was done to them by the U.S. government. That being the case, there needs to be a way figured out where Black Americans, as a group, can put this in front of court, or put this in front of Congress and see what Congress says. Seriously, not this. Well, we'll do a study on it. That's bullshit. That's kicking the can down the road.
Yep.
And I think whatever comes of that, that's what Black Americans are going to have to deal with. But I don't think Black Americans have gotten a fair conversation, a fair look at it. That being said, as far as cash reparations, I think it would be unfair to people who have come to this country legally and who have never had any involvement of the legacy of slavery to have to pay for something that was part of our government legislation and stuff. So I feel like that would be unfair to them. That being said, if the government really wanted to give Black Americans reparations, give them 40 acres and a pickup truck. Give them 40 acres and a pickup truck. Everyone that improves that lineage, give them 40 acres and a pickup truck, because they keep saying 40 acres in the mule. They're not going to, a pickup truck would be a good equivalent to that mule. Give it to them and tell them, shut the fuck up and let us white people say nigga.
Hey, but check this out. I'm thinking maybe 40 acres in a cyber truck, man. You know what I mean? Like, that's the new shit. You know, get some cyber truck.
Hey, whatever works for you. Give you 40 acres and give you the value of what a truck of your choice. Put a cap on it. I would say, like when I was looking at pickup truck, they went as high as $80,000 for a brand new pickup truck. This was back in 2020. I would say 40 acres, 80 grand. You do what you want with that 80 grand. You don't get a pickup truck, or a piece of farm equipment, that's on you. I say do it that way, because you'll never monetarily. Niggas don't even. They come up with all these crazy ass Buck Rogers numbers, and it's like you ain't gonna get that shit, man. You know?
I don't think.
I'm with you until you said that crazy ass Buck Rogers number. Then it's like, shut the fuck up.
I don't think that's realistic neither. The actual number, but I do think that it needs to be some type of and people who are from this country, or people who. But I don't think they should be held liable for it at all. This is solely on the American government, because the American government allowed this to happen. And they benefited from the free labor of the descendants of African slaves, man. They benefited from that. So I think they should solely be liable. I don't think the American people should be liable. I think the American government has enough money to be able to disperse those funds to the people who are the descendants of African slaves, man, who went through those atrocities of the transatlantic slave trade, man. Like break bread, like Christ said. Give it to us, baby.
Let me stop you right there, Thompson.
Yeah.
Because being a Caribbean person, I've got this thing with Black and African American. Black people and African Americans are two different groups.
Okay.
And as much as I can't stand Tariq Nasheed, I get the whole FBA thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about African Americans, that denotes an immigrant, somebody that voluntarily came over from Africa. They brought their wealth and poverty with them, their culture, their language, and their connections to countries, lands, and cultures. Black Americans were trafficked. They were stolen. They were trafficked. They were trafficked. They were stolen by other Africans and trafficked by Europeans. They're not the same people. And when you use the terms interchangeably, you dilute both groups. And the one group that volunteered actually gets to cosplay as the other group. And so it's like African Americans didn't earn what Black Americans did. Black Americans are the ones that they ran into, they got trafficked. And so that's my whole thing. When you say Africans, because Africans came over. You had African immigrants came over. Black Americans were, get your ass in that boat.
See, here's the thing, man. The reason I say Africans, because like it's up for debate. People say that a lot of the indigenous people or the FBAs were already here and they was forced into slavery. A lot of people say that most of the slaves that came here were from West Africa, aka sub-Saharan Africa, and they were put on boats and bought in the transatlantic slave trade. So like I say, I'm not here to debate that, because that's crazy. Because I don't know if they got the slaves from here or they brought them over there, but I know it might have been both, But either way, there needs to be some form of reparations. I don't think this country can fully move forward until we get past that, brother. I'm just being real with you.
I agree with you. Like I said, I'm pretty neutral on it. I think Black Americans definitely have the right to ask and petition for it, and they have a case. Do I think they're going to get it? No.
Me neither.
That being said, if they do get it, I believe they give them 40 acres, because we got plenty of land. The government may not be able to. The government would be wrong in giving tax money, because they're wrong giving tax money to these immigrants now. That's some bullshit. But
yeah, now that's the major bullshit in the game right there.
Right. That being said, the government has plenty of land. You give every Black person that can prove that they come from foundational Black Americans that were brought here during transatlantic slavery, and that were here after the Civil War. Give them 40 acres and give them the equivalent of a mule to work that way. You know, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
That's what they keep asking for.
Yeah.
I want 40 acres of mule. Here's your 40 acres of mule. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Go sit down somewhere. Leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah. They need to definitely, come on with the come on, man, when it comes to that, and that's just it, that's it. That's why I'm at with it.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. We have our similarities, we have our slight differences in it, but we definitely have a place to meet in the middle with that. I'm not. I know for myself, I'm not one of those people who I'm center right, but I'm not one of those people that believe, oh, they don't deserve any reparations. No, hey, listen, there's a case for it. Let's put it in court, deal with it. Whatever the court says, then that we got to live with it, from there. But give them the chance to do that, So, yeah, man. But on that note, we're gonna set the first episode of Golden Dome podcast down. Man, I appreciate my co-host for coming out.
Absolutely, man. Anytime, brother.
Dealing with the technical difficulties. We're gonna come up with another episode for you guys real soon. Do me a favor. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Everyone out there in the audience, we appreciate you being here. Next week, on the next episode that we do, I'm going to make sure we get our contact information up. For those of you all who are fans of my channel, you have my contact information. You'll be able to get in touch with me. Hey, Masai, do you want to give them your information and let them know what you got coming up? If you got anything coming up?
Sure. Okay, so I'm really not into the music thing anymore. I'm creating a different space now, which would be within the movie space. So right now, just basically finishing up on a script, that I'm working on. We're finishing up on with it now, and it's a romantic comedy, independent film called Be Good, and we're basically going to be in the beginning of, I want to say, late spring, early summer. We'll begin doing pre-production and casting for that film, and looking to come out with it maybe by the end of next year. I mean, 2025, and American Black Film Festival, maybe June of 2026. But basically premiering the film then. But we're gonna be working on it all next year, and that's what I got coming up. I have a film company too, also called Magnitude Films. So you can go on Instagram to @Magnitude Films. That is the IG handle for the film company, and you can go on my page at Masai Olin Room. So either one of those, just kind of be looking out for that. The film is called Be Good, so that'll be something we'll be definitely hitting you with in 2025.
Yeah. Okay. On that note, this is Royce J. Royce Media. Like, share, and subscribe. Next week we'll have our for the next episode, we have our Cash App information up to where you can donate. We'll have some more information up. If you want to get in touch with Masai, if you're interested in reading for one of those parts in the movie or different things like that, you'll be able to contact him in his preferred mode or manner. We appreciate you guys. Look forward to the next episode. Hope that you all will be here. Other than that, stay safe. Tell Big Shirley I said hi, because I know you're going to climb up under the covers with her. I know what y'all do. With this fat girl. All right, anyway, this is Royce J. This is my brother Masai. Y'all take it easy. Peace.
Peace.
Hey, man.